So I looked up first line prompt generator, and I'm going to be telling you a story today, and it's going to be I'm going to have no time to prepare, no time to plan what I'm going to say. Basically, I'm just going to take what prompt I get and roll with it. I'm going to say the line and just keep telling the story. Let's see. The first Christmas she could remember was also her best Christmas ever. She remembered the presents. She remembered the laughter, the happy faces. Well, that was the last Christmas that it would be like that. That was the last Christmas before it happened. She stretched and got out of bed, waddled over on the cold hard, waddled over to her slippers and quickly stuffed them on her feet, eager to save her feet from the cold floor. She got in the shower and shivered as she quickly got it done as fast as possible, shampooing her hair, washing her body, all under the ice cold water. She got out of the shower and dried off with the moth-eaten towel, and she looked at herself in the mirror and regretted even looking at her reflection in the first place, as what she saw was not something that belonged to her. It was not her. No, what she saw was a deadly person with hollow cheeks and shadowy bags under their eyes. She sighed. One day, maybe, Christmas will be like that again. But she doubted it. She definitely doubted it. She walked over to her dresser, pulled on her t-shirt and cargo pants and boots, and threw on her shoulder bag and headed off to the nearest, cheapest place she could find food. And so she found a McDonald's and she got a burger and some breakfast. She stuffed the burger in her bag, hoping that it wouldn't go bad like it happened a few times already. That wasn't fun. Bad memories of pains in her stomach and trouble with digestion. And she hurried on her way to work. When she got there, her boss demanded, "Where were you? You're 5 minutes late. Haven't I told you you gotta get here on time or you're done?" She shuddered. "I'm sorry. I, 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 I didn't mean to. I just had to get breakfast. I'm sorry." He sneered at her. "Stop being pathetic and go get to work." She quickly nodded her head and scampered over to the crates where others were lifting them and carrying them over, lifting and carrying, lifting and carrying. She saw someone without a partner to help them lift, struggling to lift the crates because they were way too big and hard to carry with four people, much less one person. She got on the other end of the crate and helped them lift it up, and carried it over to the big truck and sat down on the trunk bed and pushed it until it wouldn't go any farther. Then she turned around and she saw the person that she had helped carry it, and she went still. This person had eyes like the stars and the moon and the sea. She didn't realize how she didn't realize she had like not been breathing or doing anything until the person tapped her on the shoulder, said, "You okay?" Yeah, she said. Um, she said. She introduced herself. And the other person said, "Oh, I'm I'm Gray." Um, and she asked, "How's that spelled?" The person said, Grey, and she said, "So, uh, you know, do you want to go to the park this evening and just talk, sit on a swing and talk some?" And the person smiled and said, "Sure." And then they went back to carrying crates for hours and hours, and they ate lunch. Her burger, thankfully, she hoped was not. She didn't think it had gone bad even in all the heat. And then the end of the day finally came, and with sore muscles, she still wanted to go to the park with Gray. So they walked to the park. Was Mind you, it wasn't a very nice park. It this there were the only swing there was half each was half like falling off of what held it up off the ground, and it was so rusted that um, it could give someone easily give someone a a scare if they cut their hand on it. Afraid that they might get tetanus. It probably would give one tetanus quite easily. Um, and the slide had nails sticking out of it. It didn't look very safe. And the sandbox, well, there was no sand in it. It was just dirt. And an assortment of creatures that she would rather not come into contact with. So she and Gray sat on a bench that seemed like it might be able to hold them. They avoided any nails, they avoided the nails sticking out of it. And they began to talk about life and other things. And she said, "You know, Gray, um, so I was wondering," and Gray looked at her questioningly. She said, and she really felt awkward asking this, kind of rubbed the back of her head. So, are you a woman or a man?" And Gray chuckled. "I get that question all the time." "Neither." And she sat there stunned. Um, Gray continued, um, I am gender neutral, you see, not female or male. And she realized that made sense. And Gray said, I haven't known you for long, but I really think I kind of like you. Do you think we could maybe meet up sometime? And I don't know, go somewhere, maybe to the movies or something? She smiled at them and she chuckled. "Okay, that sounds great." And so a few weeks passed. Um, and then one day she saw Gray again at work, and she went up to them and said, so, I was thinking, what if we went to the movies tonight? I've heard that there's this really good movie out, like about, I don't know, zombies and stuff. And Gray laughed. Sure. And she smiled. So, what time? She asked. Maybe, what about 8:30 p.m.? Gray replied, a smile on their face. She replied, okay, that sounds great. And so that time rolled around, and she went to the theater and waited for them. And they arrived with a smile on their face and said, hello. I was wondering if you would be my date to the movies. And she smiled. Well, of course. And they walked into the movie theater after buying their tickets and all that, of course. They split about a bag of popcorn and a soda and watched the movie. They both jumped at quite a few parts with zombies and heads, heads off bodies and brains spilling out. Fun stuff. Then, just as the movie was about to end, and the two main characters had survived, and they drew each other in for a passionate kiss, she had a sudden urge to kiss Gray. She turned her head and looked at them, and they looked at her, and they looked at her lips. She looked at their lips, and they both simultaneously leaned in, and their lips touched. And she wanted to stay. She wanted to. Their lips were so soft. She wanted to stay like that forever. But then the movie ended, and the lights were turning back on, and they both needed to go home. So, a few months and a few dates like this later, and it was December. It was Christmas Eve, and um, she was working like she always did on Christmas Eve. And Gray walked up to her, and they said, I know we've only been on like 5 or so dates, but no, I really think I know you. I really feel like I've known you for a long time, even though it's only been like 6 months or so. Um, and I was wondering if you wanted to come over to my house, my family gathering for Christmas. And she smiled and said, I'll think about it. And so she thought about it and thought about how she was always lonely on Christmas, but she she always felt like she wanted to be lonely. But she realized she didn't. She didn't want to be lonely. She wanted to be with Gray because they made her happy. And so at the end of the day, she found Gray and she walked up to them and she said, "Look, if you'll still have me, I'd love to come." Gray smiled and said, "Now there's one requirement. You have to wear red. Doesn't that red? And you just have to wear Christmas colors, maybe. Red is always welcome. Green, white, blue. For like snow or something." Gray gold. Um, so it could you come by at maybe 5 or so p.m. And she said, okay. So she went home and she looked through her closet and she was so frustrated because all she had was these ratty old clothes. So she got a jar of money she had been saving up. She didn't know what for, just saving money, and she dumped it into her purse, her old ratty purse that was definitely in need of a new zipper and some repair and probably a replacement. But she wasn't going to spend money on that. She had more important things to spend it on. And so she went to the store. She went to the nearest Goodwill, and she looked through some nice-ish dresses, looking for the cheapest things she could find, and she found a beautiful dress for only $5, and it was gorgeous. Looked like something out of a movie. It was fitted around the waist, but then went was then it went out. Went out just floof almost, and it had a beautiful neckline that was like this beautiful curve, and it had these stitching on it that was really quite elegant, and the sleeves were long, but they weren't too long to the fact where she often had her roll-up sleeves because her arms weren't very long, but they were just the perfect length. And the skirt of the dress went down to her ankles. She smiled, but what would she do with her hair? So she bought the dress and she went home and she found a brush, and she brushed her hair and brushed it and pulled out all the tangles that had been in there for quite a while because she just hadn't had the motivation or felt the need to do any brushing of hair. She took some eyeliner that she had and traced her eyes with it, and took some charcoal and used it for eyeshadow. This actually works, by the way, guys. As far as it has for me anyway. So just I'll continue the story now. And then she she put on some lipstick, and she looked in the mirror. It was like another person. She she looked like she'd actually put some effort into her appearance. She brushed her hair for the first time in ages. Actually, she pulled out a lot of it, so that might have been part of the reason why her hair had changed a little. Her look had changed. But no, but she looked like such a confident person, and she felt a smile creep onto her lips. She couldn't hold a smile in. So she got on her boots, her work boots, mind you. She wasn't gonna wear high heels for anything. And got on a jacket and headed over, and she met Gray's family, and it was really nice. And the end. Okay, so please subscribe and hit the like button and comment down below. And have a nice day, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is right now. Okay, bye guys. See you next